Welcome back. 9 people have appeared in court accused of conspiracy to defraud. Authorities say they've made a business out of visiting prisoners in jail. The suspects, 3 men and 6 women, appeared at the Kwun Tong Magistracy today. They're accused of dishonestly claiming to be friends of prisoners to Correctional Services Department officers from August 2011 for a year. One of them is suspected to have set up a company that paid the other suspects to carry out the service. All 9 pleaded not guilty and were released on $10,000 bail each. A pre-trial hearing will be held in June. The prosecution plans to call 63 witnesses, including some 40 inmates. The court heard that the case came to light after people were caught handing out leaflets at the Lai Chi Kok Reception Centre, offering to make prison visits in place of family members. For $100 per visit, the visitors would bring messages and daily goods to the inmates. The prosecution says 147 prisoners were visited, a total of 346 times. The Correctional Services Department said according to the prison's ordinance, no unauthorised persons are allowed to visit prisoners apart from their relatives and friends. The ICAC has arrested 36 people for alleged corruption over the issue of false sick leave certificates. 4 of the suspects are Chinese medical practitioners. Others being held include members of a public body as well as government departments who are said to have bought those certificates. The anti-graft body has accused the Chinese medical practitioners of selling them for $30 to $80 each. All the suspects have been released on bail.
Obviously, rescuers are still searching for 6 missing crew members after 2 mainland barges collided off Lama Island last night. One of the vessels was almost completely submerged after the crash. Rescue efforts from divers and the government flying service have been hampered by low visibility because of thick fog. Marine police are patrolling the area to prevent other vessels from getting near the scene. The collision happened at around 8 last night. 11 men on board the barge carrying construction waste were thrown into the sea. 5 of them plucked to safety later. Crew members of the other barge were not hurt. The Marine Department says it will conduct a full investigation into the collision. A Victoria Harbour concern group wants people to support its protest against a government proposal to turn part of the Central Harbour Front into an exclusive zone for the military. As Evelina Leung reports, the group is threatening to take the case to court if it's approved.
This plot of land here in Central is what the Society for the Protection of the Harbour is fighting for. The government has proposed turning the large public space in front of the People's Liberation Army Hong Kong garrison into a military use zone.
The Society for the Protection of the Harbour says if the government gets its way, the new zoning will allow a structure which is more or less half the size of IFC to be built right here on the harbour front.
Winston Chu, a long-time advocate for the group, called this unacceptable and accused the government of going back on its word. Chu claimed the government originally said the site was for public use and that military vessels would only dock there when necessary.
Berthing right is the right to berth military vessels. That's all. And it is here. No problem. But if it is a military zoning, then the whole piece of land is under the control of the military and can only be enjoyed by the military. Completely different. In other words, the government is now proposing to take a large piece of land from Hong Kong people and give it as a present to the PLA, which is wrong.
The group plans to collect 100,000 signatures to support the call. They also plan on seeking a judicial review if the government's proposal is approved. Evelina Leung, TVB News.
To Pakistan, where former President Pervez Musharraf is now under house arrest following his dramatic escape yesterday from a court in Islamabad. Citing allegations of treason while in office, a judge issued an arrest warrant for Musharraf over his controversial decision to fire judges while in power in 2007. Police picked him up at his home on the outskirts of Islamabad overnight, where he had sought refuge after fleeing yesterday. In an appearance before another court, a judge told authorities to keep him under house arrest for 2 days and then present him before an anti-terrorism court. Musharraf, a former army chief who ruled Pakistan from 1999 to 2008, returned to the country last month, hoping to run in next month's general election. But election officials rejected his bid. Instead, Musharraf is now battling a host of legal challenges relating to his years in power.
The search continues today for victims and survivors of Wednesday night's massive explosion at a fertilizer plant in the U.S. state of Texas. The huge blast flattened dozens of homes, an apartment complex, a school and a nursing home. Rescuers searched the smoking remnants of smashed houses and apartments for anyone still trapped and for the bodies of the dead. Initial reports put the number of fatalities as high as 15, but authorities later backed away from any estimate and refused to elaborate. More than 160 people were hurt, some critically. Investigators say at this time there's still no clear indication of what caused the blast.
Chinese tennis star Li Na will be featured on the 2013 Time magazine cover of the world's most influential people. But as Alan Buchnier reports, Time's coverage this year has a new wrinkle.
For the first time, the magazine is issuing 7 separate covers, and the list is not ranked. Li Na, the first Asian woman to win a Grand Slam tennis title, will be featured on one of the covers of the Asian edition. Time's list is a diverse one.
We came up with this idea for doing 7 covers, 7 different portraits for covers. You know, we looked at our various categories and we thought, who are some of the really representative faces of what we're trying to say here about politics and activism and entrepreneurship.
Another Chinese woman on the list, the country's First Lady, Peng Liyuan. Pakistani teen activist Malala Yousafzai also grabbed one of the covers. She was shot by the Taliban for her advocacy of girls' education in Pakistan. She currently goes to school in Britain, where she was treated for her wounds.
It remains utterly poignant that she's 15 years old. She simply is trying to get herself an education and advocate for that for girls around the world. And I've talked to a lot of parents who say Malala is a real role model for them and for their girls.
The list also includes the notorious, with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un profiled.
Some of them are influential in ways that most people would agree are not optimal. We have Kim Jong-un on the list this year. He's been in the news frequently over the last few weeks regarding the nuclear testing that's happening in North Korea.
Making the cut for the 8th time is U.S. President Barack Obama.
He's bringing something different to his leadership style. He's pushing a more progressive agenda. He has changed as a re-elected president, and we wanted to bring that out.
Others featuring on one of the covers include rapper Jay-Z, who has expanded his interest in hip-hop to other entrepreneurial endeavors, such as sports and fashion. And 22-year-old Jennifer Lawrence, who won an Oscar in February for her role as an outspoken widow in Silver Linings Playbook. Alan Buchnier, TVB News.
All right, Chris, over to you for sports.
Thanks a lot, Dee. And we begin with tennis. And world number 2, Andy Murray, saw his hopes of winning a title in Monaco go up in smoke as he crashed out of the Monte Carlo Masters. Top seed Novak Djokovic, on the other hand, reached round 4. Tony Sabine reports.
Having recovered from a sprained ankle in time for the Monte Carlo Masters, Novak Djokovic went to work against Juan Monaco. But the Argentine was no pushover, taking the first set 6-4. The Serb rediscovered his form, though, to withstand the long rallies. He won the next 2 sets 6-2, 6-2. Djokovic said getting back to form after injury is always difficult.
Obviously, I'm not physically out there feeling my best, and I somehow feels that I always miss that half a step, you know. But I'm trying, you know. I'm fighting.
Djokovic's opponent in the quarterfinals will be Jarkko Nieminen, who played an excellent match to beat Juan Martín del Potro. The match boiled down to a tiebreak in the deciding set, and Nieminen prevailed, taking it by 7 points to 4 to beat del Potro for the first time in his career. Tony Sabine, TVB News.
Turning to football, and Fulham are looking to bounce back from their 3-0 loss to Chelsea, and a home tie against Arsenal could be their chance to do just that. Arsenal boss Arsene Wenger knows that nothing but a win against Fulham will do if the Gunners are to qualify for the Champions League next season.
I believe we will do it, but it's down to our performances. You know, it's down to us performing until the end, as we did recently. We bounced back from a very, very difficult position, but we have still a lot of work to do.
And in baseball, San Francisco ace Matt Cain was hit hard in Milwaukee yesterday. The Brewers hit 3 home runs off the Giants' right-hander. Ryan Braun opened the scoring with a 2-run blast in the first inning. In the third, Jonathan Lucroy slammed another home run. Cain is still looking for his first win of the year. Milwaukee beat the defending World Series champs 7-2.
And finally for tonight, a milestone in the search for planets where life could exist. Using NASA's Kepler Space Telescope, scientists have found a pair of potentially life-friendly planets. The pair of planets called Kepler-62 are located about 1,200 light-years away. They circle a star that is 7 billion years old, about 2.5 billion years older than our Sun. The planets are slightly wider than Earth, but not too big. Kepler-62e is a bit warm like Hawaii, and Kepler-62f is a bit chilly like Alaska. More powerful telescopes than Kepler will be needed to conclude whether these extrasolar planets do indeed have water.
Still a long way to go for a drink.
And that's the news for tonight.
Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.